starting
Okay.
out, do anything and you will get better,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
You don't have to like overthink it too much. But
Being
for the
able to love yourself and, validate who you are without any form of expression of it. And that's why I feel like that's what true confidence is in my head. Because
It gives us a journey of self-discovery through our art. Yours might be music or film or writing.
Always been my outlook on everything in regards to life. If I see anybody who has anything, my default is if they can have it or if they can do it, so can I.
We get to
Yes.
speak. We get to do a podcast. We get to work out. We get to. It's a privilege that people often complain and take for granted.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Insightful Podcast. We gain insight in order to move forward in life. My name is Anthony Amaral, and today is episode 30. Today, I wanted to discuss mental real estate and the importance of not cluttering your mind. Before we get into this, if you've been enjoying the podcast so far, remember to like, subscribe, and comment any future topics that you want to see in the future. With all of that out of the way, let's get started. So what happens if we allow our minds to be too cluttered? We will never be able to stay focused on the path that we want to follow because we keep getting hit by distractions. This is something I've been thinking about recently. It's the fact that why do I find it that sometimes I struggle with staying focused on my goals? And that's because I allow too many things in my day to control my thought processes. I might be working on the podcast, for example, but there's some personal things going on in my life that I'm thinking about. And we need to realize that you only have so much time in a day to be focused, to be working, to be, chasing something. If you guys have tried this before, if you've tried doing way too many things at once in one day, it is very difficult to stay focused. You may be focused on the first couple tasks that you complete in the morning, but by the end of the day, you just can't seem to focus. This happened to me not too long ago. I was coming up with a bunch of podcast questions for guests that I was going to have on. And by like the fourth or fifth guest, I could no longer focus. I could no longer come up with any good questions because my brain was out of it. I was already thinking and brainstorming too much throughout the whole day. So this is something we need to understand is mental real estate. What are you spending time thinking about? What are you spending time doing? Because we only have so much of it in a single day. My favorite analogy with this is Hamza's analogy. He speaks about brain points and how when you wake up in the morning after a good night's rest, you have a certain amount of brain points and you need to delegate them and use them wisely. And this is also another big thing is how well you sleep the previous night dictates how many brain points you will have in your arsenal to use for that day. So if you get 4 hours of sleep, like ask yourself this question: when you get those shitty nights of sleep, how easy or how hard is it to focus? I don't know about you, but that's where my mental is the worst. My ability to focus, my ability to want to do the things I know I need to do is almost zero. I can't, so I think like if I were to put it on a scale, getting shit sleep leaves you with like 20 brain points to spend on the day, right? And we need to consider this if we want to, achieve great things. We need to consider, okay, how am I using my mental strength? How am I using my mental real estate throughout the day? Am I too focused on the things that don't matter, or am I focusing on the things that matter, right? Because you only have so much in a day. How I felt being too focused on many different pursuits. So going back to this, it's very important that you only focus on a couple things throughout the day. You shouldn't be focused on too many things, because that's where all the things that you're trying to, get better at, you seem like, oh, I'm making no progress in any of them. It's because you're spreading yourself too thin. And this happened to me hugely not too long ago. I was trying to pursue different business ventures, and I was also doing the podcast, my own social media. I was trying to learn a new language. I was trying to read, trying to get more intelligent when it came to business. And what ended up happening was months went by where I actually was making zero progress across the whole board. There was no progress whatsoever. So this is a huge thing, is there's going to be that thing that you really want. You want it very badly, that you want to achieve. You need to focus on that one thing, because once you begin to spread yourself too thin and you're trying to be great at too many things at once, that's where you'll make progress in none of them. And you need to ask yourself this question: isn't this true? Because even for myself, there was a point in time where in high school, I had classes that were very easy. So I wasn't really thinking about school, but I had the gym. And the crazy thing is when I had the gym as my only focus, that's when I made the most progress. That's when my bulk was amazing. I gained 20 pounds at such a quick rate. I was getting stronger week by week. I made the most progress I ever had in the gym during that period of time where my only focus was the gym. And I know there's going to be times in our lives where too many things are going on at once, and it'll be very difficult to just focus on one thing because we have so many responsibilities. But at the end of the day, you need to cut out certain things that aren't doing anything for you, that aren't very important in your life, so you can focus on the things that truly matter. Because with this, that's how we're going to start to see progress. And an exponential amount of progress is when we just focus on the one thing that we really want to achieve. Not just, oh, I want this, I want that, I want to be good at this, I want to be good at that. And then before you know it, you've been doing that for months on end and nothing's changed. Don't be like me. That was me, And the funny thing is like, you will see progress. You will see a change once you start to remove things from your life. Because it was funny. I was doing all those things, trying to be successful in so many areas. But once I started cutting out all the things that I know that wasn't worth it at the time, that's when my social media started to grow. That's where I started getting more podcast guests. It was because I finally realized that the reason that I wasn't becoming great at anything is because I was doing too many things. A jack of all trades, a master of none. But then once I started to focus on the three things that really matter, that I really wanted to be great at, that's where I saw the progress. So start cutting things out of your life that are holding you back from achieving great things in that one thing that you really want. So getting to the parts that matter, it is focusing on the one thing. Like I said, just to break it down again, it is just focusing on the one thing that you really want. If that's social media, make sure you're spending your time that you have for it, making content, consuming content, seeing the trends, seeing what people are enjoying, commenting back, being interactive with your community. That's what matters, right? You need to focus on that one thing. If it's soccer, make sure you're practicing, make sure you're watching highlights, make sure you're getting your cardio better. Surround your whole goal around becoming better at that one thing. That might mean doing a bunch of different things that allow you to become better at that one thing that you're pursuing, but it should only be one thing you're pursuing at a time. I had June on the podcast, right? And he was speaking about serial entrepreneurship and how it's a growing thing, that many people are claiming to be a serial entrepreneur. But the problem with that is, if you start being a serial entrepreneur right from the beginning, none of your ventures are going to succeed, because you're trying to grow this a bit, then you're trying to grow that a bit. And then once you realize that it's not growing at all, there's no growth at all. I read a book called Essentialism by George McCowan. It's on my desk right there. And there's an amazing graph, right? So it speaks about only doing the things that are essential. So there's a graph like this. It's a circle, and a bunch of little arrows around it. And as you could see, all the little arrows are only just a bit out of the circle. But then there's another chart where there's a circle and one line that goes all the way here. And what that's telling us is that if we just focus all our energy into that one thing that we really want to succeed in, it will grow. It's inevitable. The amount of input you're putting into this is going to allow you to succeed because it's only a matter of time. You know, I truly believe that if you put in the work into anything, genuine work, genuine care, genuine passion, that you could be great at anything. And that's what that chart is teaching us, is that if you try to be great at too many things at once, none of them will be great. But if you try to be great at one thing, you are bound to succeed in it. And that's what June was speaking about on the podcast. If you guys haven't listened to it already, definitely go give it a listen, because June had some very great insight as an entrepreneur. You know, he started at a young age and he learned a lot of lessons at a young age that he was teaching me and the listeners. So if you haven't listened to it already, go check it out. But yeah, we need to stop spreading ourselves so thin. Now, when it comes to mindset, why are we using so many brain points on different aspects of our lives when we don't even care about them? Well, what you need to do is start reflecting on this question. What is in your control? Only focus on the things that your effort will do something about it. Stop worrying about things that you cannot change. This will take a lot of real estate in your mind if you're not careful. You know, if it's a bad friendship or a bad relationship and you can't change it, you can't change that person, stop worrying about it, because the only thing you should be worried about right now is the things you're able to change, the things you're able to make an impact on. That is all that's in your control. One of the best things I've learned recently is that you need to stop focusing on what's going to come out of something. You should only be focusing on your input. And the reason being is because you control the input. You control how much you do every single day. You don't control the result. You know, you want this result, but it may not come the way you want it. It may not be the exact way you want. You might not get the exact reward you want for all the hard work you put in. But what you can control is what you're doing on a daily basis. So that's why you need to eliminate the things in your mind that are taking up space, that are completely out of your control. Because that's what's giving you no energy, no mental power to achieve anything else in your life. Because you're constantly worrying about what this person's doing. You're worrying about what this person's saying to you. And I've done this for so long. You spend so much time thinking about what other people are talking, what they're saying about you. You're even focusing on things that don't matter. If it's celebrities, if it's, you know, all these different things that are distracting you from your purpose, from your goal. This is why you can't stay focused. We speak a lot about willpower and discipline and all these things, but you need to set yourself up for success. You can't expect to be, you know, in this toxic relationship, for example, and then wanting to be successful in your business or wanting to get into self-improvement and start being a better version of yourself. Because I don't blame you. Who wants to, you know, go to the gym or go be productive in their side hustle or whatever the case may be after they just got finished arguing with their partner for an hour? You know, you're drained. You don't feel like doing anything. So you need to set yourself up for success by only focusing on the things that you can control in your life, not the things that are out of your hands. So I want to leave you guys with some quotes that have impacted my life by Marcus Aurelius. So listen in. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Marcus Aurelius was one of those people that I read his book and it completely changed my life. It wasn't those things that, you know, you feel good about yourself for a couple days and then you forget about it. his book genuinely changed my life because it gave me control over my mind again. And it allowed me to not allow my mind to be my enemy. And that's what it is. He speaks so much about stoicism and only focusing on what you could impact, that you can control. And that's all that matters. That was the first step to self-improvement for myself, was realizing that my focus should only be towards the things that matter and the things that are within my control. Once you start to adopt this mindset, I am telling you, the progress in your self-improvement journey will be amazing. It will be at a faster rate than you ever believed it could be. You know, when you start going to the gym, only focus on the gym. Stop worrying about what you're doing after, what you did before. When you're hanging out with friends, only enjoy the time with them. Stop allowing your mental real estate to be overflowed by so many thoughts. We need to be conscious of what we're thinking about. We need to rewire our thought patterns, because this is the beginning step of self-improvement, because we've gone so long with thinking the same way and allowing our thoughts to consume us, that is the first step. You need to start taking control over your mind. Thank you guys for listening to this podcast and making it this far. If you enjoyed, remember, please give us a follow on Spotify. That's where I want to grow this podcast the most. And, you know, the thing about Spotify is it's a very great platform, and that's why I want to grow on there the most. I want it to be a reputable self-improvement podcast, and I know that takes time, but the small action that you can do today is just heading over there, giving it a follow, and that would mean a lot. We gain insight in order to move forward in life. Let me know in the comments what has been the most impactful episode of the podcast thus far. I'll be responding to those comments. And thank you guys for tuning in. And I hope you guys got some value from this episode. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.